Christmas time has arrived again, and what better way to celebrate the holidays than by spending time with your family while also capturing the excitement of railroading. Last year, we featured Christmas steam on the Southern Railway, and for this holiday season, it is the Norfolk and Western's turn. We will showcase the delightful sounds of these joyful times on an N&W line that has gained fame in the railfan community since the 1950s. This is part of our 5th N&W episode in Season 2 of the Revival Steam podcast. I am Alec Butler. I am the sound editor, host, and narrator of this fictional railroad-related podcast, which tells stories about what the future of American trains, pulled by new and improved steam locomotives, will look and sound like. This episode features mainly N&W steam locomotives, both vintage and modern, operating along the N&W line to Bristol, Virginia. Built between 1854 and 1856 as part of the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad, this route passes through towns like Walton, Radford, Rural Retreat, and Abington. The scenic journey offers clear acoustics, allowing you to appreciate the sound of steam engines crossing the Appalachian and Cumberland mountain ranges before arriving at the Bristol station, built in 1902, where the N&W connected with its future merger partner, the Southern. Notable passenger trains on this route included the Pelican, the Birmingham Special, and the Tennessean. The line is also notable because it is where N&W photographer Winston Link captured his most iconic photos and made his best-known steam locomotive sound recording. This memorable event took place on Christmas Eve 1957 at the Rural Retreat station when J-Class 484 No. 603 arrived with the Pelican, picked up passengers, and departed for Roanoke. It remains the most famous steam locomotive sound recording ever, just 1 week before steam operations ended on the Bristol line, signaling a somber end for steam during its final years. Our goal isn't to make you sad. Instead, we want to make you imagine with joy what a future Christmas with steam locomotives will sound like. We'll hear freight and passenger trains running along the Bristol line from end to end, powered by various N&W steamers that contributed to the railroad's legendary reputation. And as an added treat, we'll ride a few passenger trains to Bristol and Williamson. Finally, we'll revisit the Grundy Branch to recreate what Link captured long ago, and imagine what it was like to experience steam travel on the N&W again. Sit back comfortably in your chair, enjoy some hot cocoa, and close your eyes. Envision an RS event during Christmas where you can hear what people like Link saw and experienced many years ago as we host a Christmas spectacular on the Bristol line. We will arrive on Thursday, December 18th at our first stop for the N&W Christmas RS event in the small town of Emory, Virginia. On Friday, December 19th, we will enjoy a hearty breakfast of sausages, eggs, and bacon at the nearby roadhouse by the Bristol line. The first train is expected to arrive around 9:30 a.m., bringing joy to our group. The two RS-related Radford Ramblers operate between Bristol and Roanoke and will meet in Meadowview, 2 miles west of Emory. The N&W's most iconic passenger steam locomotive pulls today's train, the streamlined J-Class 484. This class was the last passenger express locomotive built in the U.S., rolling out of the Roanoke shops in 1950 and used on notable passenger trains like the Powhatan Arrow. Tribute engine number 602, heading west toward Bristol, offers a spectacular view as it heads west on this cold, snow-covered day during an El Nino. It's a perfect beginning. Listen and enjoy. As previously mentioned, the two Radford Ramblers meet in Meadowview. We quickly head to the station where we're delighted to see the locomotive pulling the eastbound Rambler, which is America's most beloved steam engine, the queen of steam locomotives, the only remaining J484 number 611. This engine has been a favorite among rail fans ever since its first excursion with the original NS Steam program from 1982 to 1994. It even pulled the final trip of that program on December 7, 1994, before being displayed until its restoration in 2015. Since then, it has occasionally run on excursions. We now hear 611 on the eastbound Rambler as it departs Meadowview after a station stop, having let the westbound Rambler pass a few minutes earlier. Sure enough, 611, the only survivor, still has the power to pull this passenger train safely. Let's see if you can agree. After the morning activities, we head to Walton Junction, located a few miles northeast of Radford, Virginia. Around noon, while enjoying lunch, we notice a distant train approaching. We pause our meal to catch the moment as the train arrives and passes through the junction. This is the westbound RS-related local passenger train number 10 from Roanoke to Radford, pulled by Tribute Streamline K482 number 127. After it passes, we hear over the radio that another steam engine is approaching. A few minutes later, Tribute Y6B 2882 Mallet number 2189 appears pulling a caboose and moving west toward Radford, where it will serve on NS local freight V34. Walton Junction is certainly a popular spot for train watching. Enjoy. Driving toward Bristol, we'll stop at Rural Retreat, Virginia to capture 3 more scene movements for the day. Waiting on a siding, 1 track from the station, is NS Local Freight V40, which operates on weekdays from Bristol. It's now ready to return to its terminus with a non-streamlined K482 number 100 as its power. But it must wait for another train to clear the main line. That train, NS Manifest Freight 126, led by Tribute Y5 2882 number 2101, is thundering to Roanoke. Once it clears the main, number 100 will take V40 back for its weekend break. The final movement is a light engine from Roanoke, Tribute Y2A 2882 number 1716. It represents 31 of the earlier Y-class designs built by several manufacturers in 1918. The engine is heading to Bristol for its duty on the local freight run. This is our last piece of action for the day. Enjoy. Here is a treat for you. The following day is Saturday, December 20th. This next soundtrack is 17 minutes long as part of our 3-hour and 15-minute ride on the eastbound Radford Rambler from Bristol to Radford. We are departing Bristol at 8:15 a.m. behind the Tribute engine, J-Class 484, number 604. The weather is cold with light snow, making this a scenic ride during the holiday season. We expect to arrive in Radford between 11:30 a.m. and noon, then spend several hours Christmas shopping. Around 4 p.m., we will listen to our only trackside soundtrack for the day. Afterwards, we will again set up at Walton Junction to watch NS Local Freight V34's return trip from Bluefield to Radford. This train operates from Monday through Saturday. Today's power is Tribute Z1B 2662 number 1381. The short train allows the compact 2662 Mallet to enjoy a light workout as it heads back to its terminus for a rest. On Sunday, December 21st, Day 3, no events are happening. We will do a Christmas RS presentation at the library in Radford. We'll resume our steam train activities on Monday, December 22nd. After breakfast at our Radford hotel, we'll head 15 miles outside the city to Pulaski, Virginia. For the morning's activities, we will catch our first train, the NS Local Freight V37, which runs from Radford to Whiteville, Virginia. This weekday-only freight is currently being handled by a 2662 locomotive. Tribute Z1B number 1470 has just finished switching in Pulaski and is ready to proceed toward Whiteville. The sun rises in the east behind the train, sparking a reflection on how spectacular this scene might look in the future. After catching this train, we returned to Radford to observe two more freight trains departing from the yard, heading eastward. Both are powered by Tribute locomotives. The first is NSV 33, a weekday local freight from Radford to Norcross, Virginia. For this morning, it is managed by Tribute Y3A, number 2059, one of 82 AA2s built to USRA designs in 1919 by various builders. Some of these engines served with different railroads across America. We will explore those stories in future episodes. Today's freight is short, making it a milk run for 2059. The next train, Manifest Freight 126, departs around 11 a.m. for Roanoke, pulled by Class A 2664 number 1226, representing NW's finest freight locomotive built between 1936 and 1950. The original number 1226 was part of a group of 10 made in 1944, but only 1218 survives and ran excursions from 1987 to 1991. It is now on display in Roanoke. Let's return to our scene. Tribute A number 1226 departs the Radford yard with Freight 126 en route to Roanoke. Enjoy watching these freight trains leave Radford Yard. At this point, it will be 9:30 a.m. Afterward, we will drive for 2 hours to spend 3 more hours at the Warm Springs Pool in Hot Springs, Virginia. At 2:30 p.m., we will drive back to Pulaski, Virginia. It will be around 5 p.m. when we get there, and the sun is setting to the west. The last train of the day passes along the Bristol line, pulled by another Tribute A, number 1228. It's easy to picture this scene around Christmas as 1228 transports goods west to Bristol, where Southern Steam takes over. This is the final steam train we will hear on the Bristol line for this Christmas season. It is Tuesday, December 23rd, and the 5th day of this RS operation. We are nearly done capturing steam for this event, but a few more sound segments remain to be shared. Today, we're riding another passenger train heading to Williamson, West Virginia. This train is one of the RS-related Amtrak-supported Aero trains, steam-powered from Roanoke to Columbus, Ohio. It is pulled today by the J-Class 484 Streamline Tribute number 609. A nice-looking tribute to these engines. We'll board in Christiansburg, Virginia, around 9 a.m. after breakfast near the station. We plan to capture 16 minutes of audio of 609 in the crew car behind the engine. Approximately 8 minutes in, we will arrive and depart from Bluefield, West Virginia, roughly halfway between Bluefield and Williamson. This captures what a steam-powered passenger train on the N&W should sound like, as Link documented during the final days of mainline steam in the United States. Listen and share your thoughts. Williamson is approximately 148 miles from Radford, which is a roughly 3.5-hour drive without heavy traffic. We will spend the rest of the day resting at the hotel near the yard. The final day of our Christmas operation is on Christmas Eve, December 24th, a cold, snowy Wednesday. After breakfast at the hotel, we will go to the Grundy Branch for our bonus segment. There, we will capture 2 Christmas-themed supply trains, both pulled by Tribute M-Class 480 Mastodons. These trains carry Christmas presents in boxcars and a coach, traveling to various towns along the branch to deliver gifts to local families. The branch crosses 3 states, West Virginia, Virginia, and Kentucky. Our initial setup is near the curve south of Argo, Kentucky, near the Virginia border. The first train is climbing the grade around the curve along Knox Creek, which runs parallel to Route 194, pulled by Tribute M-Class 382. During this pass, we won't hear the whistle, but it will be audible on the second run. We will quickly move our cars further south to catch the train as it ascends a steep grade, whistling at the half-mile branch road crossing south of Hurley, Virginia. This whistle mimics the original 382's and sounds beautiful as it echoes through the mountains, blending with the engine's deep chugging. Enjoy the special Christmas Eve moment. we've reached the grand finale we've been anticipating. We'll hear the last steam train of the day during this NW Christmas RS operation. This is the second Christmas supply train pulled by an old favorite from the first NW episode. Tribute M Class 480 number 429 hauls this train, now empty after delivering Christmas presents, on its return trip to Williamson from Grundy. We'll hear the train several times as it travels north in majestic, sometimes roaring loudly, sometimes steadily climbing a steep hill. It's so dark and the train's speed is so great that we can't clearly see where we are. So it's up to you to imagine this Christmas Eve steam train as it heads home to finish its day's work. Could old Winston Link have envisioned such a stunning sight on Christmas Eve, even after recording NW 603 and the Pelican in Rural Retreat, Virginia? To me, it's possible. This RS event was a wonderful Christmas gift for you. Just imagine reliving the past. Although the age of steam has passed, its spirit lives on. Let this event motivate us to restore the great iron horses so they can once again traverse the rails, symbolizing our nation's heritage and future. Lastly, I want to thank Jay Wynn, Ken Gear, Adam Chrisman of Penrail Videos, Everett Mealing of Dynamo Productions, and David Sadowski of the Trolley Dodger for permitting me to use their sounds, which made this Christmas gift possible. I've included links to their stores or YouTube channels for you to explore and enjoy more railroad-related content. I also thank my Aunt Elizabeth Tremblay for her hard, diligent editing of my podcast scripts. I look forward to our next adventure, so I have nothing more to add. This is Alec Butler from Revival Steam. See you next time, and Merry Christmas.